How to fix a voltmeter.
So we are back with a how-to video, and this time it's how to fix the cables on a voltmeter. So firstly, we are not going to use gloves because basically the gloves are only needed when you are doing messy work, basically working on a car with oil, any fluids and so on, because these gloves are kind of thicker and is used for working with live wires. And basically, yeah, you're gonna see the marks on my fingers now because of jobs and previous cuts, always hurting thyself. So yes, I think this is just blood underneath a nail. I use a needle, but yeah, let's not go off point here. So basically, this gloves over here can be used for your live wires when you're doing electrical work, because it's nice and thick and it's nice isolation. This wise again, you see, whenever you wear gloves, you want gloves to be as tight as possible against your hands, because it helps you to turn a bolt and work with small things like you're literally working with your bare hands. And there's nothing better than working with your bare hands, by the way. So obviously you want to use something that is close to as possible to that, and that is this latex gloves. So that is why we only use this when we need to, when we're working with messy work. So now it's not so messy work, we're just going to do some soldering. So apologize for the hands, maybe that's not looking according to sketch. But so basically what we need to do here is, we have a weak point on the soldering cables, and basically it's snapped and broke off over here. And this happens usually with your cables. There's always a weak spot on the charging cable and so on as well. That's why with some cables you will see there's a spring on there, and that is basically to prevent this from happening, from bending, because what happens is you work around and it bends and it snaps. So now what I'm going to do is obviously show you that everything is working over here. And the voltmeter is very important, because you can see here there's many different settings on here, numbers as well, and this is used for a lot of things. You will definitely see that, I'm sure you did in our previous videos, for those who have been watching and carrying along with the story, because everything is a story from start to finish, you know, whenever the finish might be. So yeah, there's a lot of things in here that's very important. What you need to know for now is the DC sign over here, voltage, straight line, and you also get voltage over there, but that is AC because alternating current. And that is why we spoke in one of our previous videos with Nikola Tesla that came up with the alternating. That is why we have the voltage that we have today. So, and we are using AC current with what you basically, everything that you power your phone, whatever you are doing from your 220 volt, your wall socket, that's all Nikola Tesla AC voltage. We can use this to check this voltage. So we have to fix this machine because it's a very important machine. So now we have the necessary tools over here, and maybe I just want to break it a bit so that you can see, breaking the footage so it doesn't look like we are just boring you with one angle. So now we are at a different angle, and we're just going to show you now how we are going to dissect this thing over here and fix it. So firstly, what we obviously need to do is, we need to get some access to the wire over here. So we're going to use the pliers, that is what this is used for. And the next up, we're just going to try and put it like this. Okay, there we go. See? That is what obviously, sometimes when you get it right the first time, you get a lucky pull. So now that is what we're going to use to solder to this part over here. But now we need to obviously get access to this. So here is super glue over here in front as well as at the back. So we need to obviously basically remove this. So that is where this heat air station, hot air rather, comes into play. And we are basically now have to be careful here, because we are going to switch on the machine, and while it heats up, let us get back to the right angle. So we're going to use the hot air machine now, and we are going to just heat this up a bit. You can turn the blowing up like the air, you know, on the machine, as well as the temperature. So always start with whatever you do, whether it's food or anything, start on a low temperature. Don't overdo it, you know? Take it easy. So we're just gonna heat this up a bit over here. And you will soon see the front as well. We're gonna do that because we're gonna show you now why this is necessary to do this. So you can't maybe see that it's actually doing something, but I can feel it. And basically now we need to now try and get this thing out of here so that we can basically fix this thing properly. Hopefully never let this happen again. So now we're just gonna face the tool over there like it's supposed to on its thing, not switch it off because there's no need to switch it off. Okay, there the pin came out. So we need to have access now to the wire part. So that is why we have these tools over here. These tools are always necessary. You should know by now. And we're just gonna try and maybe see this is also not heated enough. So let us check. Oh, it's very hot. So let's heat this up a bit more. There's super glue over here that's holding it, and you obviously want to get past the super glue basically. Let's see what happens. Okay, there we go. So it's out. So now we got the one part done. Now we just need to get this part over here ready. So let's do this. We're rotating it here now because we want to spread the heat evenly. You concentrate it on one spot, it just won't burn nicely. So let us get to the small pliers. This is what the most important pliers, you know this also by now. We're going to try and go inside the grooves here to grip this wire. Okay, it's not heated properly. Let's get some more heat on there. So once we know there's enough heat, you can actually see it starting to like swell up. Then you know, okay, it's go time. So let's see what happens now. I'm going to use the small pliers to try and pull this wire out of here. Oops, be careful not to damage. Okay, you can see there what's going on. We need to get past the glue. You see the glue is a problem. Okay, we pulled the whole wire out, as you can see over here now. So these things happen, guys. We just want to show you. Nothing is perfect, you know. So obviously now we need to just get something that will go in here to push out everything, because there's actually a wire in here. So we just need to heat this up a bit. And we're going to show you how we're going to fix this properly. So let's just get it out quickly and then we take it from there. You can either push it forward, you must try and push it forward. Okay, so you will see over here, managed to get it out. Trial and error, these things happen. Basically, this is the wire. So the part basically broke off now over here. And basically this wire was in here and all the way right through, soldered onto the other part. So if I put it through like this, you will see it will go right through, as you can see over there. And basically this was now just soldered onto this. Firstly, it has to go through this casing over here, the real thing. Okay, so the reason why we don't wear gloves, because there's no need to, and we don't waste here at the Wyman. So back in my chair now, and let me just see if you guys have enough view. Probably need to get very close up to you guys, or let me make a plan. Maybe you can get close up to me. So okay, I think this is the focal spot, right? You can make an X here, so X marks the spot. So now we got the wire through like this, You will just heat it up again. Now you need to obviously do soldering. We have heated up the solder machine, the RTA station. We got this also through, as you can see over here. I need to just get up my chair now and then to make sure you all see perfectly. You know, I need to get more organized. So now we need to obviously do soldering. So we're gonna obviously add some flux to this thing over here. And what we're gonna do now is we're just going to maybe get some solder. We're trying to do this in a rush now so we can get the video done in the quickest amount of time. So this is a bit too low. Let's turn it up. Solder obviously needs to melt. See, sometimes you buy solder at different places and it doesn't react the same. It reacts badly. So let's try and see if this is gonna get on there. No, it does not. So the problem we have over here is that you see it gets hot as well, so you need to be careful. But it doesn't really look like it's sitting on here. So this can only mean one thing. We need to roughen this edge for the solder to sit on it, because there is some galvanizing, some protection. Okay, so I basically got it soldered. I didn't have to clean it. So it's just trial and error all the time with the flux, and it basically worked. So now we're just going to push it back and see if it goes back in the hole over here. So we're obviously just going to apply some heat with a blower again. Try and align it nicely, because that is when you solder it, you need to make sure that you align it nicely, because the solder is now also adding as a hump over here. You don't want to really do this now, because you can break all the solder that you basically just soldered, or break the wire. But if it doesn't break, you know you've done a good job, eh? So now it's not obviously broken. It's just, this is just from the casing. Wires are intact. Maybe if we cut some of the casing off, then it might work. Let's not do that actually, because the casing acts as a barrier. We want to get this in here nicely. So I think the best way to do this, okay, there it goes in. So now we're just going to try and push this in further. Obviously it can't, because we need some heat once again. So we're going to put the blower on. You can hear it switching on over there. And basically now guys, hopefully this wire is fixed. So now, because you didn't see the soldering, I'm basically going to do the same with this one over here, so that you can see the soldering being done over now. So obviously once it heats up, we're just going to heat this up a bit over here, so that we can, in other words, or rather, let's first finish this one. So what I need to do is I need to now heat this thing over here in the front part, like we did to remove it. Heat it up a bit, turn it around, and try and push the front part back in there. See, that will just secure it, making it look like factory, because that is what you want. You want to get it looking factory settings. So obviously heating it up, hopefully it's getting warm. And there we go. You can see there. I want to reveal something nice to you. I need to get the right angle here now, wherever the camera is, but you can see there. Now it's done nicely, that is in there. And the back part as well, we're just going to heat it up. You can see it's swollen, so we're going to make it look nice now. There it also broke a bit, because we had to remove it, and obviously these things happen. You forced it out, but we're just going to heat it up now, bend it back. So you need to obviously keep it maybe focus on a point longer. Obviously you don't want to heat the wire that you just soldered, you're just heating the casing. So let's see if we've done something nice here once again so that we can reveal. We did it. Closer, but we want to get it perfect. So let's just heat it up a bit more quickly. And now we'll show you, and you can be the judge. You see the crack happening there? We're obviously going to show you what we're going to do about that, but we want to squeeze the wire. That's the most important part, so the wire is nice and tight. You see? So the wire is nice and tight because the thing is the wire breaks if it's not tight. But we'll just glue it like it was before. Okay, so that is why we have this. And this one I'll be using for the final touches. So there we go, we have it. This one is done. And we're going to test it afterwards to show you. Now we're moving on to the black one. And we're going to just do the same over here, heat this up a bit. So we always finish one thing first before you move on to the next. That's basically why we just went back to the red one. So heat this up a bit. And now, let's see if we can remove it. Okay, it comes out easily. You didn't see that, eh? Let's maybe do it like this. See, angles is very important. So there we go, it's out. Unfortunately, those wires go to waste. It's obviously getting shorter now, but luckily it's not too short. We can still make use of it. If it obviously gets very short, then we will obviously replace everything and make it a bit longer again. Because you don't want to work with short wires, then it's also a struggle. So now we're going to show you how we did the soldering. Basically just wrap this around here. And you want it to also be nice, and let's actually make this longer so that we don't have to struggle like this. So keep on it tight, snap, and there you go, nice and long. You can see that. So now what we're going to do, we're just going to, you can actually turn the burner off. Okay, we turn the soldering iron on and we're switching the burner off. We're switching the burner off because we don't need it for now. So let's turn this around here first. Okay, there you can see. Right. Okay, so if we keep the heat on nice and long, basically on the shaft over here, then it basically will eventually stick. I just need to get warm enough with the flux for the solder to melt on there, and now you can see it's obviously nice and tight. So the same as before, we're just going to basically push the black part in there like this. We're hoping to show you now obviously how we did the solder. Unfortunately we couldn't. There's a bulge over here now that we're going to try and remove. We hope it's not going to cause damage. We're going to definitely see how long this is going to last, guys. So bear with us. As in like the voltmeter now, with it being fixed like this. So we need to get some more hot air here, because we need to now melt this part in front so it can basically sit nice and tight like we did with the red one. So we're going to heat this thing up over here. This will basically separate now. So we're obviously going to test this soon. We just want to finish this and then we're going to test it. So let's see if it can go in now. Yes, it does. And you can see there's also a crack over there. And then you get this cube bond where you can basically actually fill it up. It's like a filler powder, but we don't need that for this case. So now obviously we just have to put some super glue at the back and in front, then it's procured. So the last thing to do is to test it. And what we're going to do now, we're first going to switch off the blower. Excuse that irritating sound. So we're going to go again to the continuity. And this is a very important feature which you will soon see. The black cable needs to always go on COM, which is common. You know, black is always common. And then the red one which you see over here that we just fixed, will basically go in your V voltmeter, because it's voltage is dangerous to read. You can either switch the red over to the other side when you are reading the amps, but for now we're going to do this. And basically let's switch the light on. As you can see, there's a nice fancy voltmeter, effective, cheap, but why doesn't the light want to go off? So now I think there's a time when it goes off. What to know that it works perfectly, that sound is going off, but to know it works, when I touch these two wires together, that needs to change. Then we know there is contact over here. Oops, you can see there. This voltmeter, very few voltmeters makes a sound, and this one actually does. You can see the light is off. I'll switch it back on, and when you hear that sound, you know that the continuity works. Some voltmeters don't make the sound, but the numbers will change, and you know there's continuity. So continuity is basically used if I want to check now if here is continuity, basically a metal running from the start to the end. I can keep this over here at the end, the one with the voltmeter now inside with the light on, and if I put this on the one end, as you can see over there, if I keep it like this and I put the other one on the other end, you can see there it reacts. I can take something else again. I can basically use this peg and put this over here on the one side, and then I can find the other metal part maybe over here and touch it. You will see there, makes a sound. So what that means is that this metal, from everywhere when I touch it, there's continuity, there's no breaks in the metal. I can take the pliers, I can put the one end on here, I can touch the other end over here, you hear the sound, which means there's no break. I could go to the back, but there's a casing, and that is why when I touch the casing you won't hear anything, because it's not metal on metal. There's no continuity. The same with this thing over here. If I touch this on the metal part, you will hear continuity. Let's put this in there, continuity. But obviously if I touch the plastic, no continuity. Even though the metal is touching the plastic, it doesn't mean that there's continuity. Only when I touch the metal, it runs, metal and metal. So that is a very important feature. You will see that soon throughout our new videos. So we hope you like this video. Give a thumbs up, like, subscribe, and let us know if you like it. We have a voltmeter that's fixed. So next up, we will show you how we do some other electrical fixing using a voltmeter to diagnose the problem. Thank you for your time, and you can see the karaoke definitely helped with the voice to prepare for this how-to video. Join us for the next video. Stay tuned and subscribe.
More how-to videos link in my bio.
So going forward, I will definitely sacrifice on the discomfort on wearing gloves, and this is just for any viewing unpleasantness and so on.